What makes some companies great while others remain merely good? Is it luck, timing, or something deeper? Jim Collins, through an exhaustive 5-year study, sought to uncover what it is that propels certain companies to greatness while others stagnate or falter. In Good to Great, Collins presents groundbreaking insights that don't just apply to companies, but can help anyone striving for success in business, personal life, or any field. This is a story about pushing past mediocrity, discovering untapped potential, and turning deliberate actions into lasting greatness. Let's unlock the principles that turn good into great. Chapter 1. Good is the enemy of great. Collins begins by introducing the core premise of the book. Good is the enemy of great. It's a simple yet profound idea. Most organizations and individuals settle for being good because it feels comfortable. After all, being good isn't bad, right? We can live a good life, work in a good job, and maintain good relationships. However, this very comfort creates a dangerous complacency. It's what holds us back from striving for more and reaching greatness. Collins argues that the pursuit of greatness is a deliberate choice. Most people never make this leap because it requires discomfort, risk, and effort. The companies that made the transition from good to great didn't just improve their existing practices, they fundamentally changed how they operated and thought. They rejected the idea that being good was enough and set their sights on something far greater. One example that Collins highlights is Walgreens. Walgreens was a good, solid company for years, but under the leadership of Charles R. Cork, Walgreen III, the company made the conscious decision to pursue greatness. They didn't just aim to improve. Walgreens committed to making customer convenience their #1 priority. This shift transformed the company, allowing it to grow rapidly while outperforming its competitors by a wide margin. For individuals and companies alike, the lesson here is that the first step to greatness is rejecting the status quo. It's about making a deliberate choice to pursue excellence in everything you do. Whether in business or personal life, greatness starts with a mindset shift, a refusal to be satisfied with good enough. Chapter 2. Level 5 Leadership. One of the most striking findings in Collins' research was the discovery of Level 5 leadership. These leaders are not the charismatic, larger-than-life figures you might expect. Instead, they are a paradoxical blend of personal humility and intense professional will. They are fiercely ambitious, but their ambition is not for personal gain. It is for the success of the company or cause they lead. Collins uses Darwin Smith, the former CEO of Kimberly-Clark, as an example of a Level 5 leader. Smith was a modest, unassuming man who never sought the spotlight. When he took over as CEO, Kimberly-Clark was struggling. Smith made a bold and controversial decision to sell off the company's paper mills, its most profitable division at the time, and invest in consumer paper products. His decision was met with skepticism and criticism, but Smith had an unwavering belief that this was the right move for the company's long-term success. Under his leadership, Kimberly-Clark became a world leader in consumer paper products, outperforming its rivals and transforming its industry. What makes Level 5 leaders different from other leaders is their combination of humility and fierce resolve. They don't seek personal fame or recognition. Instead, they are driven by a deep commitment to something greater than themselves. They build enduring greatness by creating the conditions for others to succeed, often giving credit to their teams rather than taking it for themselves. For anyone striving to achieve greatness in their own life, the message is clear. Great leadership is not about ego. It's about putting the mission, the organization, or the team first. It's about being willing to make bold decisions and sacrifice personal comfort for the greater good. True greatness comes from serving something bigger than yourself. Chapter 3. First who, then what? One of the most important lessons Collins discovered in his research is that getting the right people on the bus is more important than deciding where to drive it. This principle, first who, then what, emphasizes the importance of assembling the right team before determining your strategy. Great companies don't start with a brilliant vision and then try to rally people around it. Instead, they start by getting the right people in place and then figuring out the best path forward. Collins shares the story of Wells Fargo during the 1970s and 1980s. At the time, the banking industry was undergoing massive changes. Rather than trying to predict what would happen, Wells Fargo's CEO, Dick Cooley, focused on hiring the best people he could find. He believed that if they had the right people in place, they could adapt to whatever changes the industry threw at them. Cooley wasn't obsessed with figuring out the perfect strategy. He knew that the right team could pivot and adjust as needed. This focus on talent allowed Wells Fargo to thrive and become one of the top banks in the U.S. The first who, then what principle applies not only to companies, but also to individuals and teams in any field. Before you focus on what you're going to do or how you're going to do it, you need to make sure you have the right people around you. Whether you're building a company, a project team, or even a personal support network, the people you surround yourself with will make or break your success. Collins stresses that it's not just about getting talented people. It's about getting the right people, those who share your values, who are self-motivated, and who are passionate about the mission. Once you have the right people on board, everything else becomes easier. The right people will naturally align with the organization's goals, and they'll help figure out the best way to achieve them. Chapter 4. Confront the brutal facts. One of the common traits among great companies is their ability to confront the brutal facts of their reality while maintaining unwavering faith in their ultimate success. Collins calls this the Stockdale paradox, named after Admiral James Stockdale, a prisoner of war during the Vietnam War. Stockdale survived 8 years of captivity by balancing two seemingly contradictory beliefs: the need to confront the harsh reality of his situation and the unshakable faith that he would prevail in the end. In the business world, great companies demonstrate a similar ability to face difficult truths head-on. Collins shares the story of Kroger, which in the 1970s faced the brutal reality that its traditional grocery store model was becoming obsolete. Many competitors were slow to adapt, but Kroger took bold action. They decided to close or remodel nearly every one of their existing stores and shift to a modern supermarket model. This decision wasn't easy, but it allowed Kroger to survive and eventually thrive in a rapidly changing market. Today, Kroger is one of the largest and most successful grocery chains in the U.S. Collins explains that confronting brutal facts requires creating a culture where people feel comfortable telling the truth, no matter how unpleasant it may be. In great companies, there's no sugarcoating or avoiding hard conversations. Leaders ask tough questions, and they're willing to hear difficult answers. This creates an environment where problems are addressed head-on and solutions are found before small issues turn into big ones. The Stockdale paradox also teaches a crucial lesson for individuals. Acknowledge the challenges in front of you, but never lose faith in your ability to overcome them. Whether you're facing financial struggles, career setbacks, or personal difficulties, success comes from balancing brutal realism with unshakable optimism. By confronting the facts, you can make informed decisions and take control of your destiny. Chapter 5. The Hedgehog Concept. One of the most transformative ideas in Good to Great is the hedgehog concept. The concept is based on an ancient Greek parable. The fox knows many things, but the hedgehog knows one big thing. Foxes are crafty and try many different strategies to catch the hedgehog. But the hedgehog always wins by doing one thing exceptionally well: curling into a spiky ball that protects it from all threats. Collins argues that great companies operate like hedgehogs. Instead of trying to do many things, they focus on one big thing that they can do better than anyone else. The hedgehog concept is about discovering what your company or organization can be the best at, and then focusing all your efforts on that singular pursuit. The hedgehog concept lies at the intersection of three key areas: what you are deeply passionate about, what you can be the best in the world at, what drives your economic engine, what makes you money. When these three elements align, you found your hedgehog concept. Great companies focus relentlessly on their hedgehog concept, and they avoid distractions that don't align with it. A perfect example of this is Walgreens. Walgreens discovered that what they could be the best in the world at was providing convenient, accessible drugstores for consumers. They became deeply passionate about offering top-notch service and convenience, and they invested heavily in store locations and customer experience. Walgreens didn't try to become the biggest retailer or expand into unrelated markets. They stayed focused on being the best at what they did. This hedgehog concept allowed Walgreens to outperform its competitors and achieve sustained success. The lesson here is that greatness comes from focus. Instead of spreading yourself too thin or chasing multiple goals, figure out what you can excel at and concentrate all your energy on that. For individuals, this means finding the intersection of your passions, your strengths, and what brings you value. When you align these three elements, you can achieve extraordinary results. Chapter 6: A Culture of Discipline. Collins found that the companies that go from good to great share a common trait. They cultivate a culture of discipline, but this doesn't mean creating a rigid, top-down environment where people are micromanaged. Instead, a culture of discipline is about giving people the freedom to be responsible for their own actions while holding them accountable for results. In great companies, people aren't disciplined because they're being forced to be. They're disciplined because they're passionate about the mission and take ownership of their work. The combination of freedom and responsibility creates a powerful environment where individuals are motivated to do their best without needing constant supervision. A standout example of this principle in action is Nucor, a steel manufacturing company that transformed itself into one of the most successful companies in its industry. Nucor built a culture of discipline by decentralizing decision-making and giving workers at every level the authority to make decisions. At the same time, Nucor held everyone accountable for performance. Employees were rewarded based on their results, and the company fostered a sense of ownership among its workforce. This culture of discipline allowed Nucor to consistently outperform its competitors and adapt quickly to changes in the market. Collins argues that this blend of freedom and responsibility is what makes great companies so agile and successful over the long term. For individuals, the lesson is that discipline is the key to achieving your goals. This isn't about forcing yourself to follow strict rules or schedules. It's about developing the internal discipline to stay focused on what matters most. It's about taking responsibility for your actions and holding yourself accountable for the results. When you create a personal culture of discipline, you'll be able to push through obstacles and achieve greatness. Before we dive into the next chapter, we have noticed that 72% of you who listen to our video are not yet subscribed to the channel. Please help support our channel by hitting the subscribe button and like the video. Thanks for inspiring us to create more content for you. Chapter 7: Technology as an Accelerator, Not a Driver. In today's world, it's easy to assume that technology is the key to success. But Collins's research revealed something surprising. Technology is not the primary driver of greatness. Instead, great companies use technology as an accelerator of their existing strategy, not as the foundation of their success. Collins explains that technology, while important, should never be the starting point for a company's transformation. In fact, companies that leap on the latest technology trends without first understanding how it fits into their hedgehog concept often end up in trouble. Great companies don't adopt technology for technology's sake. Instead, they use it strategically to enhance their existing strengths and accelerate their progress toward their goals. Walgreens, for example, didn't rush into e-commerce or online pharmacies when the internet boom began. Instead, they focused on using technology to support their core mission of convenience. They integrated online services in a way that enhanced the customer experience without losing sight of their hedgehog concept. This lesson extends to individuals as well. Don't chase the latest trends or technologies just because they're popular. Instead, focus on how technology can help you achieve your specific goals. Whether it's using productivity tools to streamline your work or leveraging social media to connect with your audience, make sure that any technology you adopt aligns with your long-term strategy. Technology should accelerate your progress, not define it. Chapter 8: The Flywheel and the Doom Loop. One of the most powerful metaphors in Good to Great is the concept of the flywheel. Imagine a giant, heavy flywheel, a massive wheel that takes tremendous effort to get moving. At first, it feels like you're making little progress, but as you keep pushing, the flywheel starts to gain momentum. Over time, it spins faster and faster until it's nearly impossible to stop. Collins explains that this is how great companies build momentum. There's no single moment of breakthrough. Instead, it's the result of consistent, disciplined action over time. Great companies don't look for quick fixes or dramatic transformations. They focus on making small, incremental improvements that, over time, create unstoppable momentum. A perfect example of this is Amazon. In its early years, Amazon didn't experience explosive growth right away. Instead, the company focused on steadily building its infrastructure, expanding its product offerings, and enhancing the customer experience. Each improvement was like a push on the flywheel, adding more and more momentum. Today, Amazon is one of the most dominant companies in the world. But that success was the result of years of disciplined effort. On the other hand, companies that fail to go from good to great often fall into the doom loop. These companies are constantly looking for quick fixes or dramatic changes to solve their problems. They lack the discipline to stick with a consistent strategy, and as a result, they never build the momentum needed for sustained success. Collins uses the example of Circuit City, which was once a leading electronics retailer. Circuit City fell into the doom loop by making a series of erratic decisions in response to short-term market pressures. Instead of building long-term momentum, they constantly changed direction, ultimately leading to the company's downfall. For individuals, the flywheel principle teaches us that success doesn't happen overnight. It's the result of consistent, disciplined action over time. Whether you're building a business, advancing your career, or pursuing personal goals, the key is to stay focused and keep pushing, even when progress seems slow. Eventually, you'll build the momentum needed to achieve lasting greatness. Chapter 9, From Good to Great to Built to Last. In the final chapter, Collins ties together all the principles of good to great and presents a vision for sustaining greatness over the long term. Great companies don't just achieve a short-term breakthrough, they build a foundation for lasting success that can endure for decades or even generations. Collins argues that the key to sustaining greatness is staying true to your core values while continually adapting to a changing world. Great companies don't abandon their hedgehog concept or their disciplined culture just because the market changes. Instead, they find ways to innovate and evolve while staying rooted in what made them great in the first place. One of the best examples of this is Procter & Gamble, P&G, a company that has been successful for over 180 years. P&G has maintained its core mission of providing high-quality consumer goods, but it has also been a leader in innovation, constantly developing new products and adapting to changing consumer needs. This balance of tradition and innovation has allowed P&G to remain a dominant force in its industry for nearly 2 centuries. For individuals, this principle teaches us that greatness is not a destination, it's a journey. Once you achieve success, the challenge is to maintain it by staying disciplined, focused, and adaptable. The journey from good to great doesn't end when you reach your goal. It's an ongoing process of growth, learning, and improvement. Conclusion: From Good to Great. Jim Collins' Good to Great provides a roadmap for anyone looking to achieve greatness, whether in business, in life, or in any endeavor. By embracing Level 5 leadership, focusing on the right people, confronting reality, staying disciplined, and building momentum through consistent action, we can all make the leap from good to great. Greatness is not reserved for the lucky or the talented. It's a choice that requires commitment, discipline, and a relentless pursuit of excellence. The journey from good to great is challenging, but it's also incredibly rewarding. So are you ready to make the leap? The choice is yours. Let's start today. Are you interested in reading the entire book? We got you a link in the description down below.